Leading the Indian space domain from glory to glory, ISRO Chairman S. Somanath is the man of the year. Welcome, sir.
Thank you.
Can you share how your father, Sridhar Panikar, a Hindi teacher with a strong interest in science, influenced your passion for science?
See, I must tell you that my father had a very strong influence in my early upbringing. He was a school teacher, very strict fellow, a very disciplinarian. But the most interesting part was he was an avid reader of many things, literature, science, and he was passionate about many things, about doing electronics hobby. And he had a kit of electronics radio building. Though he was a language teacher, he had so strong interest in science, so he brought books, a lot of them. And through those books, I realized the universe. The type of books that he brought, you will really wonder whether it was suited for a young boy like me. But they were mostly the world classics, of the Tagore, of the Russian classics, the American classics, the Nobel laureate ones, including that of Gabriel Garcia Marquez. So many he brought, and also travelogues, the scientific books, science books, all in Malayalam, not in English. So I read all of them during my school days, and he will also discuss scientific topics occasionally with us. Not a very friendly person, so but still he will discuss whenever he finds his mood good. He will discuss about universe, stars, planets. So it created an interest in both in me and my sister in studying science. That is one, and he was skilled at his hand with his hand doing things. He was a very good carpenter. He was a mechanic. He had a lot of tools at home. You look at any tool, many of the tools, cutting, planing, drilling, all those tools he had used to be at home, soldering irons and things like that. So I used to play with all of this and build my own stuff. So that was a very beautiful time because I got inspired in reading and doing things.
Yeah. And you mentioned in one of your past interviews that he once brought a stargazing chart.
Correct.
Yeah. And
no, it was one of the many books that he brought. That was a Star Atlas, which was published by Kerala Shastra Sahitya Parishad at that time, which gave a black and white print of the star atlases of every month. You can look at it and then see the stars, both English name and
so were
Indian
you
name.
able to identify stars from that?
Not many. I could do something. I could see some stars. I can still identify the group of stars. Like in the Malayalam, Ashwadhiparani star groups are there. The type of English names are there. Like this, I can little bit identify at that time. So it's more than that identification skill. It was more of an interest to look at sky, see stars, how they form such constellations, and how it changes with the time. They don't remain the static. Though the constellation is there, its size changes with time. The great rishis, how they become very big at some time, they become very small at some time. So all this creates some sort of an interest and the periodicity which they come again and again. So all these are new exposures to me.
That's right. One of your classmates, Shudasan, he told me about you bringing some extra food for him while you were at school. But from my when I had a conversation with your sister, my understanding is that it was actually the kindness of your mother that got reflected in that activity also.
Of course, it is. It's only the food comes from mother only, not from anybody else. See, mother was not very educated to that extent. She didn't pass 10th standard in those times, but she was again a good reader. She used to read all those books which I used to read, very avid reader. And though she didn't have the opportunity to get beyond that 10th standard, if she had studied, then she would have become a school teacher, I believe. But then she was very, very fondly in terms of her care that she gave to me in terms of cooking food, feeding us, and doing all household chores of that time, rearing up the cows, cleaning the house, doing all sorts of sundry things. And looking at us while we were studying early mornings, 5 o'clock, we compel us to get up, read in the front of that lamp, the kerosene lamp, and sleep in front and still make a black tea for us for preventing sleep. And her love was reflected in the form of the food that I carried to school, which I could share with my classmates. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So could you please tell us about the first science award you received? I think it was a cash prize you received in 10th standard.
I don't know whether it is 10th standard. I was at St. Augustine School at that time. There was a competition at Alapi. I went for a quiz competition, I believe. It was a district level quiz competition. So there was no selection done at school. So my principal called me and said, if you are willing, you go to Alleppey. So I went with one of the class teacher. I participated in the competition. I got a prize. So that prize then I came to school and announced I got the district prize for quiz competition, science quiz. And then the headmaster said, are you interested to go to state level? I didn't show any interest going to Trivandrum to participate in a state level competition. I didn't go. That's the only award I remember in school.
But your school teachers were very...
Your school teachers very positive and very great teachers because it was a Malayalam medium school. But the teachers were excellent teachers. The type of inspiration that they gave was wonderful. I still remember two teachers, science teacher, three of them I should mention. The first is a Paul sir, who took us mathematics teacher. He was a really great teacher. One of the classical statement that he used to make is that just don't believe that it is told by the mathematics teacher it is correct. You have to find out yourself. Okay, so that is one of the classical statements. And he gave us experiments to find out about the geometry, things like that. You take a saw piece, cut and things like that. So many things. So a very innovative teacher. Another teacher is Rajan Babu, who used to teach us physics. He never took any class properly. He never taught us from the book. He will come and sit there and give stories or something he will discuss, interact with the students. And when the syllabus is just getting over, he will simply go through the books very fast. But all of us did very well in physics because after his class over, still we continue discussing on this topic within ourselves. That I can understand. I can still feel the inspiration from him. Another teacher is my biology teacher, who used to be the Bhagirathi Amma, who used to be the English teacher also. She was also had strong influence on us. And personally also she loved me so much.
She wished to see you as a doctor, in the future.
I don't know whether what she wished to see me, but I don't think that that was true. After my 10th standard, I was a state topper in science, including biology. So she was very proud about that aspect. And she purchased a book called IIT Entrance book, guide for me. That means she didn't want me to become a doctor, though I was a topper in biology. So, but I used to see her long until her deathbed. In fact, I watched her dying also. At Trivandrum, she came and I had that. On that day, I used to be in the hospital along with her deathbed. She passed away.
You went to the hospital?
I went to the hospital on that day.
Knowing that she
is admitted, and there I could see her, leaving. So it was my blessing to see her at her old age, meet her, and then be with her.
You did your BTech at the TKM college in Kollam, but after your pre-degree, I think someone brought that admission form for that.
Correct. Yeah, that is a good story. That when my father, it's my father's story. You should start from there. My father studied only up to 7th standard. Okay, he couldn't go to school because of various reasons. Because she had no parents. Father died at the age of 3 and mother at the age of 13. That's what he told me. So at 7th standard, he stopped his studies. So later he studied himself. So the person who helped him to study, that person also was a school teacher later. And his son, one day he became an engineer. So he came to my home and asked why this man is not going to engineering, me. And he purchased the application form for me.
What was his name?
I just don't remember. I'll have to remember the name. Radhakrishnan or something like that. I just don't know. It's from Thuravur. So he also passed away because he was in NIT Calicut. He passed out and was working in state government PWD, and due to his misfortune he passed away early age. But he only decided that I should go for engineering, and he took personal care to bring an application, fill it up from me, and give it. Otherwise, I wouldn't have applied.
Otherwise, you would have gone.
I would have applied for in fact, after my pre-degree at Maharajas College, I was almost decided I will join for mathematics BSc or physics BSc in either at Maharajas.
Yes, Maharajas is a place with too much political activity.
Yeah, that time it was a very politically active place.
But were you involved in any party or anything?
No, I didn't get involved because I was a day scholar. I was coming from Marur. I had to take a students only bus, come here by 9, go for class. By this time the class starts, the Ingulab Sindhabad will start, and the class are dispersed, and I immediately go back home. Or many people went for tuition, and so it was not meant for study, that college at that time. It was more for agitation and rebellion or some sort of, the political situation. It was very active. So much of burning of the buses, cars, hitting, case. So many things were running at that time. Yeah. So Pre-degree students were not very active participants in that. Okay, so but degree students, by the time they would have been more active politics. I may tell you that time it is a P.T. Thomas was a student there. Then Monai, who later became an MLA, he was there. Then Venu Rajamani, who became an IFS officer, he was there as a University Union Councillor. Nam, who became again a union person in, I think he became later St. Albert's or somewhere. So many of those were my contemporaries at the time.
Yeah.
Oh, that
And in your book Nilavu Kudicha Simhangal, there is a mention of the financial crisis you were going through while you were going for BTech at TKM. Could you please tell a little bit about that?
See, when I joined engineering, my father retired. He was a school teacher. He was a primary school teacher. So just on the year of his retirement, I joined engineering. And his pension was very small. His pension, he used to tell me his pension was 185 rupees per month. So that was only income we had. So you can understand that running a family, that he had his sister also to be supported, which was again, they were not having her husband and they are dependent on little bit on him. And he had no other financial resources. So my expenditure per month also will be more than his pension. So, but fortunately I had a scholarship, National Merit Scholarship. So every month he will not be in a position to send me money to bank. The money that he used to spend is 150 rupees per month. So in that I had to make the fees, books buying, food, travel. It was difficult. So it was extremely difficult. I can't explain in words how it was difficult, because every day I had to write on notebook how much money is remaining, how much is today's expense. Like that, you have to count the paisa remaining to remain for that month.
And you used to go to the college by a cycle.
Cycle, of course, yeah. Cycle was the only way, because not because that cycle was okay. It was not very far off, so you can bicycle. But the most interesting part is not to go to bicycle, but go for movies. So every day I'll most of the week I'll go to Kollam. That is about 5 kilometers away. So I'll go for movie. Most of the movies I used to watch. Though I don't eat, I will go for movie. So that was my
Wonderful. So there was an incident involving a packet of books on thermodynamics given to you by the late Maidin Kuti.
Maidin Kuti sir, yes.
Yeah. So could you please tell a little bit about how the TKM faculty and your peers played a crucial role in shaping that foundation as a space?
Maidin Kuti was our advisor. There is somebody called advisor at college. One of the professors will be assigned as an advisor to the batch. So he was advisor, very friendly person with everybody. So, and he used to teach us a subject called thermodynamics. But though I was good at it, but he realized that I couldn't study the subject properly because I never had that book. Because see, every year what happens is we will go to library, loan some books for study, because every books are costly in engineering books. So normally we don't buy, only those who have enough money buy. So I never purchased many books. I was on borrowing or hiring, like that mode. So this book I was not having. So he realized later, after I pass out of the engineering college only, I never had this book. Somebody would have told him. Then he purchased that book and gave me, after my passing out, the thermodynamics book that he used to teach.
Okay. That was like a present for you.
Yeah, it was a present for me.
Okay. So there was also a story about you requesting one of your professors to teach a course on propulsion, and 10 other students also joined for that course. So so was it like you had a plan to go to the space domain as such?
Of course I had a plan, because I was interested in space. Trying to join VSSC or ISRO was a dream. Okay. So I wanted to prepare myself, whatever possibility is there. So one of the possibilities, take some courses in aerospace related available. So there was nothing available in TKM. So then somebody is told that some professor could be interested to take this elective. Then we went and talked to him, said, can you teach us? Then he said, okay, we will try. Then, but we need to have enough students. So we campaigned, put some 10, 12 students, I believe, to join this course. Then he agreed to take that course.
What was the name of that professor?
It's a whole problem. That's my classmates will tell. My memories. The other day they told me. I am not able to remember that.
Okay. So you applied for a job at ISRO when you were a final year student.
I didn't apply. It was advertised. Oh. So rather, you must say that the ISRO was taking engineers for the PSLE program. So they put an advertisement in newspaper that you can apply. Those who are in the final year also can apply. So it was an application of that type. So so then this was a small advertisement. So I typed it out on a paper, went to a typewriting institute, got a form typed as a photostat, then came to college and distributed to everybody to apply, all these people.
Oh, okay. You only
I
distributed.
distributed to many people. So I forced them to apply because I wanted some company.
Okay.
So that time application plus 2 rupees was 2 rupee fee you have to pay. I still remember that is a postal order, PO, postal order you have to attach. So that way we applied on a plain sheet application.
So did you get any company from
Yeah,
college?
we 10 of us.
Oh, okay.
Went, they called 10 of us for interview. So we all went like a group to Worli Youth Hostel. There is a youth hostel in front of that Worli tourist village.
Yes.
So we went there, stayed that night, celebrated. Next day morning, walked from there to the VSSC, then attended the interview. So five of us got job
Oh, okay.
from my class.
Okay.
itself.
Yeah. So some of your some other persons were like VP Joy.
VP Joy came from the CET, College of Engineering Trivandrum, not
and
part of the TKM.
current VSSC director Unikrishna.
Current VSSC director from Kodamangalam.
Yeah, he was also belonging to the same batch, right?
No, not exactly. Unnikrishnan joined little later, not on the same day. But on the day when I joined, around 12, 13 people were there. Joy was part of that team, of that group that joined. Unnikrishnan joined little later.
Yeah. Could you please share some memories from those earlier days of your career and also some anecdotes about the peers who joined along with you?
See, for example, on the day I joined, I still remember VSSC. I went to the Vikrant Sarabhai Space Center. It's a huge complex. So went to the main building where we were all received by Mr. Dr. Ramanathan. Ramanathan was something like program planning group head. He was the brother of Subramanian Chandrasekhar. So, the Nobel laureate, I believe. So he was there. So he invited us. He was wearing a suit, etc. And then asked, all of us were sitting, where you want to work. And then I told I want to work where something is happening. So that's what I told. And he sent me rightfully to PSLV project. So that was my first job. Then I went and met Madhavan Nair, who was the associate project director of PSLV at that time, in a hangar where he was sitting in a small room. 1 month I spent there. After that, I shifted to Valiamala, that new complex which was coming up for PSLV. Yeah. So when I went there, it was the just beginning of the building of the PSLV. PSLV is still on drawing board only. We are not seeing the hardware, anything yet. So it was an early beginning of the whole program, and we were learning, trying to find out, and we were just joining. There were no seniors to actually guide us or help us. So we did and learned.
And that was into the integration of rocket systems.
Integration of the rocket. It was called Mechanical Integration and Launch Complex, MILC it was called.
Yes.
That was the team. Yes.
Yeah, and it is something that, my understanding is something that requires multidisciplinary skill set.
Everything is multidisciplinary. See, but it was not a very top-end engineering domain at that time. See, we were not into rocket design. We were not into propulsion. We were not into the core engineering of the rocket was not that group's job. It was more of a, see, things come, you have to plan how to integrate it, how to qualify it and put it. But if you look at the mechanical integration team, which was existing prior to that and after ours, there is a big change we created. That is the one important contribution I believe we have done. We made it a very core engineering. We added more faculties into it. We brought more analytics, more engineering skills, and more specialists came out of it. And I can tell you that team, from that more project directors became, many of them who grew became good rocket engineers, they became good overall integrators, they became good leaders. So that was a dramatic change.
Could you please tell some names who were there?
Oh, there are many. Yeah. One is Mr. Jayakumar, who was, see, we were all in one room. 5 of us were in one room. One person is Jayakumar, who became later the PSLV project director and GSLV Martri project director. Another person in my room is Mr. M. Mohan. He is currently the Human Space Flight Center director. He was also the project director of the cryogenic engine, also the GSLV Mark II, the space capsule recovery experiment, all of that. Mr. Kishore Nath, who was again in my room, he became the associate director of ESSC. So in my room itself, I could found three main leaders coming out.
So you were staying together. This team was also staying together.
Just a room like this, tables in different corners, like that.
Not the professional environment, but
No. Yeah. Living somewhere in lodges and etc. homes.
yeah. So could you please provide some insights into the work culture of ISRO? As the chairman of the organization, could you please describe what a typical day looks like for you?
See, it changes with a different. If you are speaking about me today in my position, it is different. When I was a young engineer, it is different. I don't know whether which one you are referring to.
I like both, because that earlier days you had to work a lot, like.
Say, if you are a fresh engineer, at that time, I used to get up, go to office at 8 o'clock, 8 or 8:30. The bus will come. We are a very disciplined people, so the bus will come at the bus stop exactly at that time, plus or minus 5 minutes. So we have to board the bus in a queue formed. So we are the only people who are boarding buses in the forming a queue. In transport bus, you will all enter like that. So very interesting to see people watching us standing in queue to get into bus. So that is one. The grey colored bus will come and take you to the office. In office, we get into work. There is nothing called gossiping, leisure, or any such thing in office. Office is purely professional work. Sometimes in laboratory, sometimes in meetings, and many meetings are brainstorming meeting, discussion meeting, design meetings. This is one part of the job. Second is tours. I used to travel everywhere. I had to go to Bangalore, I had to go to Hyderabad, Sriharikota, all sort of travel, and travel not in flights. Okay, one day my boss will tell you go to Sriharikota, no tickets. So I will go to Kampanur bus stand. I will take a bus from there to go to Trichy, one private bus. At Trichy, I will board the Pandian train. One day, I standing from Trichy to Chennai, I will go. Sometimes sleep under the sleeper, newspaper spread, sleep. Official travel, you just wonder. Then we'll go to Sriharikota, then land at Sriharikota railway station there nearby Sulupeta. From there, no bus, nothing. Some truck will come, get in the back and go. So those times were very difficult. Traveling was very difficult. Many things were very difficult. But today it has improved. The commutation has become improved. Today people go by flight. You can take an Indigo flight and go to Chennai very fast. So even I traveled in flight only 15 years after my joining ISRO. So I used to travel only by bus, trains in the early part of my journey. And many times I'll go, when I go to Sriharikota, I'll come back after 1.5 months. Stay there 4 months together. Stay there in Bangalore 4 months together to do many tests, because we had a lot of tests at facilities at Bangalore, HAL, National Aerospace Laboratory. So many tests we used to conduct. So we were in charge of the whole test program. So stay there and get it done by many people. So it's not for my story alone. It's most of the people were traveling like this, doing things like that.
And today, what is the kind of?
Today it is much better. In my position today as a chairman, it is much more comfortable, I must tell you. Even for the entire faculty staff also, it is much more better. We provide better commuting capability. We allow people to travel by better ways. As a routine daily job today, my job is more of an administrative and techno-managerial job. So typically in every day, I need to go to office and stay very late in the night. Hundreds of files will come of various nature, administrative, technical, procurement, other policy matters. But more importantly, I find pleasure in conducting reviews on issues, technical issues that crop up every day in design issues or clients. So I conduct regular video meetings with all centers, go visit all centers on a routine basis, take up major projects, programs as a topic to be reviewed, directed. So and also of course, visiting Delhi typically 1 to 2 times in a week, because policies are important. Interaction with ministries and departments are important. So it goes like that. Yeah.
So in comparison to when you began your journey with ISRO, is it more challenging now to attract top talents to the organization? What are the obstacles in recruiting the nation's brightest minds to ISRO, and how can these challenges be addressed?
See, the issue today is of a different nature. See, ISRO is a government organization, and government organization can provide only certain levels of progress of career. We still get very good people. I don't find that we have any shortage of getting good people. See, for every 100 vacancies we announced for engineers, we get 1.5 lakh applicants. But those applicants are not from IITs. This is from NITs. It's from engineering colleges of various types. But there are bright people. But over the years, the recruitment process has changed. One of the process today that we go through an entrance test. Earlier, there was no entrance test. We used to look at your academic skills and qualifications through the certificates, then we conduct interviews and select people. So this process has now changed. We have to have a equivalence because there are so many universities, so many marks, and it is very difficult to evaluate anybody based on a certificate. So we conduct examination, and after the examination there will be an interview. So this is a process of selection. So we still have an ability to select good talents, but of course I can't say they are the top in the nation. We know the cream is in IIT. This is how we always say, but I know it is not true. I find cream in everywhere. It's a sort of a passion that makes you a cream. No, really not the. You got no opportunity to go to IIT. That's all. When you put 1,000 people in IIT, there are 10,000 people who are competent enough to get into IIT, and they were not having the opportunity, and they are there. And if you are able to attract them to organization like this and inspire them, they can do wonderful things. So I don't find any problem with the talents.
But is there any plans to revise the pay structure at ISRO to enhance
See,
it?
ISRO alone, it may not be possible to revise as a pay structure because it is a government job, and government job cannot be flashy like any private job. So it will have its own limitations of pay structure. So that's okay. I think the whole question is it is through higher pay. If you want to attract people, there will be a certain amount of people will get attracted. Of course, higher pay has its own advantages. It gives incentivized people. It takes the burden of personal aspects to be too much worried about. Because if you are worried about investment, then you need to worry about how to manage your portfolio. You have to manage your investment, how to keep all those planning you'll have to do. In fact, I have never even looked at my salary slip for last so many years. I have not even looked at. Salary comes to the bank and we leave with whatever minimum things that we have. It's true for many of the people. So if you are taking people for high salary remuneration, it's a different class of life. And what we want is a continuity. It's an ability to learn, develop yourself over and above that monetary benefits. So are you able to find such people? That's more important.
You came from a middle class background. So is that something that actually helped you to think
I
like
can tell
this?
you it is.
Yes.
I found that people who come from such background has a greater strong desire to excel than people who have already seen the comfort of life. Their questions were different. Their measures of life are different. So I found that the passion to do things are more in those type of people than the people who are already affluent. So affluence is not a crime. Affluence is very good, but to be ambitious, passionate, it's very important.
So could you please share the story of how you met your wife, Valsala? Was your marriage a traditional arranged one, and in which year you did it?
Yeah, it was a traditional and arranged one. In fact, married late because we were in PSLA project. So 9 years I was in PSLA project, and we were, as a bachelor, we never worried about the marriage or getting settled. So we were only interested to see the rocket launch. So the first launch happened, PSLA C1, PSLA D1 in 1993. Then 94, the D2 was getting ready. So by the time I decided to marry because the first launch was over. So then I was looking for some alliances. We were looking for, so somewhere my neighbor, my native place, it came that she is from a similar background, parents, school teachers, similar upbringing. So that attracted me.
Is there a particular incident or memory you could share about the support your wife offered to you? Like, because you have to handle a lot of pressure, stress, a lot of things going through your mind because of the work pressure as well. So
No, it is true that in my post-married life, children born, bringing up the family is very tough because especially I traveled quite a lot, not at home, and many days I come home very late and bring a lot of work home, writing documents, writing drawings or design or whatever it is. It all comes home late nights we spend. So the time spent with children was really less, and my wife is also employed, but she was able to manage that part much better. She was taking care of the kids. See, putting them in daycare, bringing them, because they have to put in daycare, both of us had to go for work. So at a very young age, they were put in daycare, nurseries. So I remember my daughter, even before 2 years of age, we put her in daycare. So, and evening she will come, somebody has to take, my wife only can come early home and then take care of the children. Otherwise, they will be sitting alone. So many a times my children used to complain that okay, they were not seeing parents because it's little grown up, they were able to open the house, get in and stay and manage the 5-6 hours before we arrive at home. Okay, so we tell, don't open the door, you'll stay inside. So there were a lot of early struggles. So once that is over, it looks very simple, but that time it was her taking care.
But this is the kind of struggle almost every family
Every
scientist family was
every
going.
family go through. So I can't say special credit for it, but I can only say credit to my wife that she took care of that part, because I was not attending to much of my family things, or now even personal things. I must tell you, even I like building a house for ourselves. No, none of these things I was even attending to. So she took care of most of that.
Yeah, but when like currently, what is the situation? Like, did you get more time to spend with them?
No, I will not get. I know really that I will not get, because with the changing careers, changing assignments, it will only become more and more busy. Yeah. It's okay. We started enjoying it because it's not a punishment. It's an opportunity. So we'll have to make use of it as an opportunity. If you start cribbing about it, nothing can be done. So how to make best use of it? So find the best time to spend with the children. Find the best time to spend with family. We have learned it very well now. I think if I talk to my children, they are happy, because I said that you spent the right time. Whatever is possible with you, you have done it. So they have no. I have no regrets. They also have no regrets. So I'm very happy about it.
Your parents were very supportive of your education. So it must be
Yes,
the
of
same
course.
with your
It was
kids
same
also,
with
no?
them.
You were so
Yes,
supportive.
yes.
What are they doing now? Like,
My daughter, both of them finished their engineering, then did job a little bit, and both went for further studies, quit their job, and my daughter is doing PhD now in electronics and communication at Indian Institute of Science, Bangalore. And my son, after his graduation, worked for 1 year and then doing MBA.
so former ISRO Chairman G. Madhavan Nair attributed the GSLV Mark III launch vehicle as your baby when I went to speak with him. So could you please share, some of the significant achievements that you consider like the significant achievements that you made, in this 3 decades of working with.
See, my baby is too much of a statement. I won't I won't associate like that. See, it's a collective thing, but I made my contribution. That much only I should say, as a person, as a project director, as a core engineering person. I had my signature in it. So, but it's a contribution of so many people. I cannot belittle anybody. See, it has so many of engineering aspect. But my role was in giving its characteristic today. There are so many things I can't explain in finer words in defining how the rocket should be. So when you started building a rocket, we have to write a definition how it will be. Every item, every joint, every element, how it should be. We thought and we decided and we drew, we planned, and that's how it was executed. So that is a greater detail of details of engineering. Then of course there are experts who went into it, developed it, then we reviewed it, modified it over a period of time. And through that process, I developed knowledge about it, and I could handle the whole mission very well later. When the first mission was going, I knew the rocket very well. So the whole skill is in terms of developing a new rocket and making it success first time is not an easy thing at all. And for that, lot of knowledge, learning has to happen from the previous knowledge, from the world, what is happening elsewhere in similar rockets. I still remember I went and looked at Ariane rocket, the French rocket. Almost 2 days I looked at it because I was at the launch pad of the rocket. I got an opportunity to go and see the watch rocket. They wouldn't recognize me who I am. So I was standing there looking at the rocket, by hearting the whole rocket, because I cannot take a sketch, no. So I was looking at it, by hearting the rocket, and there were many similarities between them. And how to take that engineering internal intricacies into my rocket, that was my dream. And so many things newly we did, never ever done before. So my contribution is that I created many new things in it, which was never done before.
Yeah. And VSSC Director Unnikrishnan was saying that if somebody talks to you, like somebody from the scientific background talks to you, it may not be easy to identify which domain you actually belongs to, because every you could speak electronics, you could speak mechanical, whatever it is. So it's not easy to identify your domain. So this process of continuous learning has always been there with you.
True. I think see, I'm a mechanical engineer, but over the years I learned aerospace engineering. Went to masters, I learned some controls. started learning electronics, started learning programming, software, algorithms, chemical. It's an association through that learning. I can't say I am an expert. I am expert in something, but a generalist in many other things. So the whole point is that you need to understand that anything you want to do, you need people of multitude capabilities coming together to do it. So the first quality that you need to have is an appreciation for others' skills, and this I could develop. So when you speak to a chemical engineer, I should speak his language. No? Otherwise, he will not appreciate me, and he will try to dominate me. So as a project director, if I have to take decisions, I must speak his language. I have to understand him. He must tell the truth to me. Okay, so for that I need to prepare. So that's how I developed the domain awareness of each of those domains to interact with him, so that I can get the best out of him. So it will appear that I know everything. Frankly, I don't know everything.
So you're known for maintaining a balance between your scientific pursuits and spirituality, as demonstrated by your recent visits to the temples also, and interest in exploring both inner and outer space. That was your course only, exploring both inner and outer space. So could you please elaborate, about that, because and how it influences your role as the chairman of ISRO?
It's a very interesting journey over a period of life. The life is not that easy that looks outside. You go through many trials and tribulations in life. So that created certain inward looking capability over a period of time. Many things happened in my life, personal, official, which created the need to handle yourself better. I realized that I am not a very good at handling myself, and that we wanted to create a inner strength, and it cannot come out of just job alone. It will come out of only being aware of what you are. It requires a spiritual elevation. It's not, I am not talking about religion, I am not taking belief system, I am talking of realizing oneself. So then I started reading domains which are not scientific. You appear to be not technical. So through reading, through association with people, I could develop certain ability to look at yourself. So that helped me to look at the other side of it, exploring the inner side. That I am continuously doing, because it gives you balance of mind. It also looks at the whole scheme of things. You look at the whole universe, try to understand the purpose, so many things. No?
Could you please name some of your favorite, places of spirituality? There must be some personal
No, I
favorites.
don't have any favorite places of spirituality. Spirituality is not linked with any space, location, nothing like that. It is here itself. It is a spiritual place. Huh? This hotel is also a spiritual place. So every place is having it's as good as any other place. But locations do give certain energies to everybody. But I have not felt anything of that nature. I am not linked to any location. I am not linked to any place. Nothing. None of this. I have been going places, but I never felt anything different. One place than the other. Absolutely not. It is more of self that gives you the awareness. Not even if I go to temple visit, I am not looking at the temple. I am looking at myself. So though I am worshipping God, I am worshipping only inside, not really the external God, the roof shape or none of this. I think that it is difficult to explain. It's my own making, it's my own thinking.
And
So
one of your uncles was a famous astrologer. So did you get any chance to learn a little bit of astrology when you
yeah,
were?
I learned.
Huh,
My father knew astrology.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he had a Hora Shastram book with him.
What Shastra?
Hora.
Hora.
Hora Shastram is the fundamental of the astrology, predicting. That is predictive astrology. So that book he used to read and use. My uncle used to practice. Okay, so I also know a little bit of this. I studied also later. Okay.
Did you learn that little bit of math behind?
Yeah, I can do the math for it.
Okay.
Yeah, and I can also draw the Rashi Chakra, Phala Jyotisha, all those things are possible. But I have not been using it because, frankly, I must tell you that I don't think that it is needed for human society. Because what is the use in predicting your future? I don't understand. The future is created by you. So I don't think that there is any need to create any predictive future. So I don't find utility of it. So though I know the process, I am not a follower of it.
So, apart from your involvement in space science, what are the other interests you have? Because I've heard you can recite a lot of poems, and also you recited Agastya Hridayam when you went for a trek to, you know, Agastya Kudam, yes, with Unnikrishnan sir. So, could you please tell a little bit about that?
No, it's an interest in Malayalam literature. So I know I was a student of Malayalam. I can still remember most of the poems in the 10th standard SSLC book, even today. So I used to by heart all those poems. For Ulluras Parameshwarayya's poem or anything, I can still recite. So I used to read a lot of poetry of that type, even Sanskrit or in Malayalam. So naturally, those were interesting poems like Agastya Griyam or Naranada Brandhan. Still, I can recite by heart.
So you were saying that during your college days, you always wanted to go for the movies and all. But do you get time to watch movies and all now?
Now a little difficult, but I used to watch most of the movies. But when I came to Trivandrum, actually the movie increased, and the type of movies also changed. And when I was in Koilam, I must tell you that I got introduced to the artistic movie like Aravindans or even Adur Gopalakrishnan at the started, or many classical movies of Satyajit Ray. All those were screened during the Kollam. There is a library which is a Ravi. Ravi used to have his library is owned by him, who used to be the producer of all the Adur Gopalakrishnan movies. So he used to screen most of the movies of the world classics in his small theater in Kollam library. So I used to go there and watch most of the movies. Kanchana Sita, I still remember I saw that movie there in that theater. Even John Abraham's movies of that time.
American.
And when I came to Trivandrum, then I used to be the member of most of the film societies in Trivandrum. There was a Surya, then there were National Film Archives who was organizing a movie festivals regularly there. And most of the national movies, classic of world literature, even Kurosawa's, almost all movies I would have seen, Ingmar Bergman, or you talk about all of them. So it was such a nice time to see classic movies of that type, and also the other movies of type. So I was not differentiating one to another. In fact, I'd be a film critic at that time, started writing, but then that's not my area.
You wanted to be a film critic?
Yes, of course. Okay. I started writing a little bit, but then I realized that.
Did you get published somewhere?
No.
Yeah.
See, I realized my domain much early, so I don't want to diverge. Focus is important in this job. So I was interested in cartooning. I joined the Cartoon Academy in Trivandrum.
Oh.
Sukumar was the, cartoonist Sukumar.
Yes.
Yeah, he was conducting Cartoon Academy. I was a little bit of cartoonist. I got awards in cartoon when I was in engineering college. So I was part of the Cartoon Academy member at that time. There were a lot of such passions, but then finally you cannot go into everything.
Which is your favorite book?
Favorite book?
You may have a lot of interest.
No, I don't know. There are so many books. I won't say one book to be the favorite over the other. I don't.
But is there some kind of science fiction that actually
See, I'll tell you the recent book on Homo sapiens by Novel Yuval Harari. Homo sapiens. It's a really interesting book. So it gives you a different perspective of the science and evolution of human mind.
But has science fiction ever inspired you with your work? In the professional
not
side?
With work. Work is of not science fiction. Work is core engineering.
Yes, that's
okay. Science fiction inspires you to think that what you are doing today is for tomorrow. So that way there is a connection. But I can't say that science fiction affects you in doing engineering work today. But science fiction is very important because it gives you these are the vision that drives you the engineering later. See, for example, communication was a vision once. It became reality later. Like space travel was a vision. It became reality later. So many of this we talk about, for example, Harari talks about that human mind memories dumping to a computer and living forever. Your memories are you. Your body is not you yourself. Your memories are that makes you. If you can preserve the memory and work on it, then you live forever. Like artificial perception of travel and experience feelings to you even without you traveling really anywhere. You can go to Himalaya and just feel I am in Himalaya. It's a physical feeling that you have to come to you. So these things inspires you, that connected network connection, sensory perception, feel, etc. coming to human mind through such technology becomes a very possibility. So, and human life to be extended indefinitely. It's again another technology which is very important.
Yes. So every mission undertaken by ISRO carries an inherent risk. So you have to consistently project the calm and composed demeanor. So what are the strategies you employ to manage stress and stay calm in pressure situations?
In fact, I don't have any stress. So I don't have to manage stress. Okay, so stress comes, it should come only when you are upset or worried or like that. See, our job is planning. So our job is in terms of overall looking at overall things and plan things. If you plan properly, then there is no reason for any stress. Of course, there is an uncertainty. That's not called stress. In a rocket launch, there could be a failure. That's not stress. It is an uncertainty. I can't do much about it. If it is going to fail, it is going to fail. What I can do by worried about it? So I don't worry about it.